G'day, it's Rob here again. Well, following on my last video where I poured some more aluminium round stock using a fabricated mould that I'd run a boring bar through. One of the viewers got back to me and said, you know, he was a bit disappointed that I didn't follow one from where I was using just plain round tube, and thought the results were, you know, not too bad. And it got me thinking, you know, because I remember the last time I did a pour using this type of tubing, you know, where you just, which is vacuum cleaner tube, stainless steel vacuum cleaner tube. I just cut a bit off and poured into that. I had a devil's own job getting the stuff out. The problem is that being thin-walled and also being drawn, it's not necessarily perfectly round, and being thin-walled, once you sort of do a bit of heating and cooling a few times, it distorts. And I remember that one that one video was, the result was crap. It was terrible. So I moved on from that, and then I did the thing with the boring bar, you know, in the last video. So I thought, well, yeah, maybe I should go back and have another look at it. I mean, the key to it all is having some good, I think, thick-walled tubing, which is dimensionally fairly accurate and no seam down the middle. I mean, you don't want any tubing with a seam weld in it, because obviously that's going to be irregular. And I have got some heavy tube. Here's a bit here. And so I'm going to do it. The next pour I'll try and do it today, even though it's Sunday, but I'll have to do it today because tomorrow's definitely going to be wet and the whole week's going to be washed out. So yeah, I'll do it. All I'll do is cut some tube, clean the end up, take the burrs off the end, make sure it's all clean on both ends, and then I'll do a pour into plain tube. I mean, this looks pretty regular, this stuff. And what this tubing is I don't know if anybody can guess looking at this, but this is actually all tubing that came out of a junked, or several junked treadmills. I mean, people throw out electric treadmills and there's some incredibly good stuff in there. I mean, these are the drive rollers, and they generally use very high quality stuff in them. You know, you've got ball races, even the shaft that goes through is well made. It's all good steel and it's all free. So, yeah, somebody advertises, you know, chuck out an old treadmill, go and get it, and you can strip it and get out some good stuff. Ball races, you know, and as you can see, it's very well made. There's no seam welding in it. It looks dimensionally pretty accurate. I haven't run the calipers down it, but I would say it will be okay. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a pour in just some plain thick-walled tubing, and we won't worry about the boring bar. I mean, obviously a boring bar is a hassle. Not many people have got lathes necessarily, and then you can only bore down so far, and then you run out of boring bar travel, and you know. So we don't want the boring bar thing if we can avoid it. So I'll fire up the old furnace. I'll melt down the aluminium I've got. I haven't got a lot really of good stuff at the moment. I've used a lot of it. So I'll just chuck in what I've got, and we'll see how it turns out anyway. Hang in there. So we're ready to go. Pretty good. Right, well, we've deburred the ends as you saw, and this is the tube as I cut it, and it's beautifully made, nice and smooth inside from the old treadmill roller. and we'll run it through with the calipers. Perfectly uniform. So that's excellent. That is perfect. So you couldn't get anything better than that. So we'll do a pour now, and I expect that, yeah, that'll just drop straight out. So, you know, it looks like we'll be able to do this sort of stuff without a lot of mucking around. And I'm glad that the viewer reminded me of what I'd done previously, because I sort of got a bit sidetracked on this whole issue. And I haven't done much casting for quite a while. I've sort of forgotten. So, yeah, I think this is going to work good. We'll give it a go. As usual, I'm using my kids' bouncy castle blower to pump lots of air into the fire to crank up the heat, and you can see everything's moving along quite nicely there. Just an old brick furnace. Plenty of old scrap timber here, old wooden pallets I pick up off the side of the road, cuttings from pruning, and yeah, so the old fire, she works well. It melts this down pretty quick. Well, that worked pretty damn good. That just dropped straight out of the mould, as you saw. This one probably just needs a little tap. No problem. Well, famous last words. Come on. There you go. She's out. So that was about probably a half of my, yeah, might have been almost a half of a pot of aluminium. So, you know, that worked pretty good. It's just a matter of how well it turns down. I didn't use any degassing agent once again. I just put it straight in the tube. And going on how well it is, how uniform it is for its full length, I'll make a longer tube, but you know, just try it this length first. This is 130 mil, so that's quite a good lump of aluminium. If you were to buy that, it would cost you an arm and a leg. And now we'll turn it down and see what we've got. The aluminium I used wasn't my best aluminium. In fact, it's pretty crappy aluminium really. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. But it certainly wasn't the absolute top shelf stuff. So. All right, I'll put them in the lathe and we'll spin it down. was 2 light passes. A few little holes here. Porosity wise, not bad. Not bad, you know, very microscopic gassing maybe, really, if there is, it's tiny as anything, not enough to worry about. I didn't use any degasser or flux in this because I'd had flux this before, and yeah, I was just keen to see how that goes without using the degasser, and you know, it worked pretty good. So I'll do a bit more machining and we'll see what's down a bit deeper, but overall, it's good enough for sure. Alright, hang in there. This is on a medium feed. I'll put on fine feed to finish off. It's running away from the headstock because the cutting angle will give it a cleaner cut that way with this tip I'm using. Yeah, well, this is looking fairly good. Just doing a finishing cut with a round nose cutter on my finest feed, which is 0.3. Yeah, it's looking okay. So how well did it turn out? Well, it turned out pretty damn well, really. A couple of little pinholes there. But I mean, they were towards the outside and I was machined back, so I've taken off, I don't know, 3 mil probably. Yeah, that'll be about it. And they're getting less as I go in. There was just those couple of bubbles there that somehow might have been a bit of rubbish or something. But overall, porosity-wise, there's virtually no porosity. If it's there, it's that tiny you can barely see it. So it's certainly good enough quality to make stuff out of, absolutely. And you saw how easily it released from that mould. So, and it's also uniform. That's the top. Look at the shrinkage, amazing. And that's the bottom where it went on the plate, and you can see it's uniform all the way through. I was a bit worried going deep like that it might not be uniform, but I'd have no hesitation making the tube twice as long if you want to. I mean, that's still a handy sized bit of aluminium to work on, but I mean, you could make it as, you know, as long as you want, and I mean, saves buying the stuff. I mean, if you went and bought that, that would cost you a pretty penny, and you can cast it to whatever size you want. So yeah, treadmill drive pipe, as I said, a roller pipe, very, very good quality, those treadmills, and they use good stuff in them. So yeah, that was uniform, and it just dropped out as you saw. So, all right, you've got no excuses now not to go and crank up your own little furnace and grab your wife's pots and pans and melt them down. Or whatever you can get your hands on. But certainly this is my last bit of aluminium, so I've got to scrounge some. I've got an old lawnmower out the back. The cutting plate's all aluminium. I'll rip the guts out of that, and the cylinder head's aluminium. So there's lots of possibilities, and if you look around, you'll get aluminium. So there you go. If I can do this sort of stuff, well, you can do it, because it's you know, it's just a matter of work out the ifs, buts, and maybes with it. But so far so good, and as I said, no degassing agent, no flux in that, although there probably would have been a bit of flux left over from last time. But overall, it still turned out good. So it seems that the metal mould, the thick metal mould, has some bearing on it. Okay, that's it from me for now. I won't be doing any more casting for a while because the weather's going to get wet from here on in, and I've got other jobs to do. So I'll give it a break for a while, and you're probably getting sick of looking at my casting videos anyway. Okay, see you guys. Catch ya.